What's up, everybody? This is the Act Man here, and today we're going to be talking about everything that Halo 6 needs to be a major success. Everything that makes up a Halo game from top to bottom. Art style, forge, multiplayer, custom games, campaign, story. We're gonna be talking about all of that. But where do I even begin? I guess I'll start with the thing that triggered me the most. The emblems. Nah, I'm just kidding. Of course I'm talking about the campaign. Now, we've heard nothing about what the next Halo game is going to be, but we're going to go through this video under the assumption that it will, in fact, be Halo 6. First things first, there's gotta be better writing for Halo 6. Now, Halo 5 had so many damn characters that didn't do diddly dick in the campaign. And even though both fireteams had a lot of dialogue in the cutscenes and during the gameplay, it was just so boring and didn't amount to much. And all these characters have to be in Halo 6. I mean, they can't just fall off a cliff, can they? Although, on second thought,
to the cliffs!
So they gotta figure out what the roles of each character are. Use the writing and dialogue to flesh them out more than not at all. Is Locke going to be the super aggressive one? Will Buck be the comedy relief? Is Vale going to be the intelligent diplomat? And will Tanaka be the strong tomboy? Are Blue Team and Osiris going to clash at all? What role will Palmer, Lasky, and Halsey have? These are the things Halo 6 needs to figure out with all of its characters. Did you hear that, Fred? Yeah, you're actually gonna have to try and be interesting. Most importantly, we have to feel a connection with these characters and we have to care. And that's what the writing and dialogue needs to achieve. Next, of course, is story. The top priority for Halo 6 should be to figure out what the top priority is. Seems like this whole created AI uprising Skynet story is what seems to be the direction, and while most fans probably won't care about it, if we can at least be entertained by what's going on, then hopefully Halo fans will start to care again. Now, the gameplay of the campaign needs to be much more dynamic and interesting. I think they need to ditch the squad-based mechanics, and if for most missions we're going to be running with the squad, then do something with that. 343 needs to take a good look at Republic Commando, Combat Evolved, Halo 3, ODST, and Reach, and figure out what it is that made those campaigns so fun and try to implement those same philosophies in Halo 6. Not every second of gameplay do we need to be followed by 3 other AI Spartans. Have some parts where the squad splits up, or we're joined by a buttload of Marines. Halo 6 needs to boost the ammo capacity of pretty much all the weapons and overhaul the enemies to fit into their own roles so they don't feel redundant or just like bullet sponges. And their AI needs to be massively improved to add back that strategic and predictable type of gameplay. Melee animations need to slow the fuck down so players can actually have more than 1/6 of a second to react to them. The length of the campaign needs to be longer. Level design has got to be more interesting and allow for different strategies. And of course, bring back the campaign theater, perhaps leaderboards as well, and let fans do creative things with those. A larger emphasis on Marine, Covenant, or other allies will help spice up the gameplay. And for the love of truth, ease back on those goddamn kill timers and invisible barriers. Let players feel like they can actually explore the levels. If Halo 6 had some sort of codex system and or terminals similar to Halo 4 and Halo 3, to give those thorough players rewards for exploring the levels would just be great. Finding things like the Scarab gun or those things was a really cool feeling for the people who discovered them, because with all those kill timers and invisible barriers, it kills the exploration and makes it feel super linear. One last thing that could really be profitable for Microsoft is if they made Halo 6 a launch title for their next console, whether it be the Scorpio or something else. Doing that will sell the next Xbox like latkes. On the multiplayer side of things, Halo 6 needs to tone down on the complexity of the game. Thrusters, clamber, slide, sprint, ADS, stabilizers, ground pound, Spartan charge, grenades, weapons, and melee. These are all the elements of Halo 5's gameplay, and it's just too much. It doesn't need to be so complicated or sweaty for it to be fun and competitive. Remove and or tweak some of these elements so the game is more accessible, easier to pick up, but can still retain a high skill gap. Get rid of the remix map system, as that was universally hated by fans and was completely unnecessary. Make each map its own unique thing. Halo 6 needs to figure out the design of its maps, weapons, and layout by the time it launches and not constantly change and tweak things 17 months after its release. Having an FPS game that's already so complicated and changes so much makes it hard for players to pick up the game after taking a break. Halo 6 has to avoid creating so many redundant weapons that muddy the sandbox, lower the time to kill a bit, and tone down the strength of automatic weapons. And if we could get the glorious return of playable elites, well shit, that would just create huge waves of positivity in the Halo community. You could make some pretty incredible trailers about that as well. Do that as a fan service because so many people have been asking for it, and they will be so happy. Hell, if Invasion makes a comeback, I'd play that around the clock. Now, Bonnie Ross said future Halo FPS games would have split screen, but she didn't specify if it would be 2 or 4 players. If Halo 6 comes out on a more powerful console, then it needs to have 4-player split screen. The gameplay should still be 60 frames per second, but 343 really needs to optimize the game to run well and support 4-player split screen, even if it runs at a lower frame rate. That may be challenging, but I'd invite my buddies over so goddamn fast if that were the case. At this point, I'll throw out some ideas for new things that could be added and old things that could make a spectacular return. I'd say having some forgeable AI would be insane. As far as I know, no other console game has anything like that, except maybe Doom. Forgeable AI could become a really hot selling point for the game and lead to even crazier, more complex maps than we have in Halo 5. And that would really be some powerful promotion for the game. With this incredible forge we've had, there's one thing I'd love to see make a return. Something that I checked nearly every time I got onto Reach. A file share. Now this might be complicated with the Xbox DVR and activity feed integrated into the console itself, but a file share in Halo 6 would be just for Halo content, and that would be something worth adding in. Halo 6 does need to add more vehicles and not just variants. It'd be pretty awesome to have some sort of flying troop carrier vehicle, or a mobile transport like the Elephant. Having these things in multiplayer would be incredible. There needs to be more cooperative vehicles that encourage players to work together. Heck, you could even take inspiration from Halo Wars 2 and bring some of those vehicles in. And some sort of weapon skin or emblem creation system would be really cool as well. And of course, traditional firefight that can be played and customized fully. Daily and weekly challenges, and so much more. So when it comes to microtransactions, at this point, we're all sick of them. If the suits at Microsoft absolutely need to have them, they can't be tied to the progression system or the multiplayer. So if Halo 6 has MTs, the best way to do this would be to have all the armor and customization pieces be unlocked through achievements, and or an in-game currency like the credit system in Reach. And then offer variants, cool paint jobs, or whatever for those pieces of armor that players can purchase with real money and the in-game currency. Oh yeah, you see that? You see that variant?
Oh yeah,
you see
triangle.
that?
Triangle fly man.
While we're at it, the armor needs to look less cartoony and more realistic. Look at Reach's customization and just emulate that, improve on it. Reach has 11 options to customize your Spartan, Halo 5 has 3. This needs to be changed. The progression system should be in line with the military theme as well, so add back actual ranks as levels instead of just numbers. I find it hilarious that I even have to mention this, but customizable emblems need to be a thing again. Let people shape their Spartan and their identity as much as possible, so they feel more connected to it. Now, Warzone was a mode made specifically for microtransactions, and that caused a huge amount of problems. If it makes a return in Halo 6, and if it isn't monetized, then the developers can be way more creative with the design and maps. Instead of copying and pasting the same bases with the same rec stations, make each map have unique bases and objectives so they feel different. And rather than having players bring in weapons through a one-time use burn card system, just put those weapons and vehicles in the maps themselves. Take a look at Battlefield 1. They got turrets, blimps, trains, all sorts of crazy stuff built into the maps themselves, and they aren't a part of a microtransaction system. Forge was pretty damn good in Halo 5, and Halo 6 needs to replicate that awesomeness and improve on it in any way they can. One thing would be to have 2 ways to create maps, the advanced version of Forge we have in Halo 5, and a more simplistic version like in Reach and Halo 3. This will make forging much more accessible to older fans and newbies. Most importantly, make all the maps forgeable so that developers don't spend so much time creating maps that can only be played in one playlist. Post-launch content should not be the life support of any video game, but that's exactly what it was for Halo 5. Players were starved for content and features, and were holding out for months just waiting for it. For Halo fans, it was incredibly aggravating to constantly be thinking about when their feature was going to be added to the game. Halo 6 needs to have the content there on day one. No exceptions, no bullshit, no 8-month update plan, alright? Oddball, Griftball, Territories, Juggernaut, Race, Infection, countless other game modes, social playlists, a theater that actually works, great user interface, custom game options, developer-made BTB maps, post-game medals, balanced and fair campaign, Forge, custom browser, so on and so on. Halo 6 can't push these things off into an extra year of development after the game's release. Just have it all there on day one and people will be happy and feel no reason to leave. Post-launch support should be used to add things like the custom browser, bug fixes, and new maps. If there's one thing that needs to be in Halo 6, it's polish. The number of glitches, bugs, and elements of bad game design across the board was simply astounding. Each update seemed to break a new piece of the puzzle while simultaneously fixing a piece, creating a constant state of disrepair. It felt unprofessional and unfinished. In this current age of gaming, there's far too many options for people to sit around for a year waiting for the game to be what it was supposed to be at launch. It's important to make the menus look smooth, feel fluid, and make the game function properly. Halo 6 needs to have some serious quality assurance and bug testers to prevent people like me from being able to make 40-minute videos on the bugs and glitches of a single game mode, or a video like, "Why is Halo 5's UI so bad?" In conclusion, Halo 6 needs a lot of things to be successful, to bring older Halo fans back into the fold and to entice new players to check it out. I don't expect all of these things to happen, but I believe most of what I talked about is what a large portion of the Halo fan base wants to see. 343 definitely has their work cut out for them. They've got access to endless player feedback, and I think if they listen to the most common criticisms of Halo 5, work on fixing those, Halo 6 could be an incredible game, and the fan base could be really happy and positive about the series they love. But what do you think? What are some of the things you think Halo 6 needs to have? And what's the one thing you'd like to see most? Let me know in the comments below. Alright everyone, that's all I got for today. This is the Act Man signing out. Peace!